Here, I thought we were going to talk about overtime and the Sixers snapping their 6-game losing streak. Unfortunately, they do not get the win at the buzzer. Nick Claxton. Listen, it was a great shot. I guess sometimes you have to tip your cap, but wow. As we welcome you here to Sixers Postgame Live, brought to you by Curado Insurance, Amy Fadul and Mark Jackson. And Mark, I mean, the Sixers climbed back in it, and Al Abdenabi pointed out, and you said it, you know, we watch on the set here in the fourth quarter, and you said it before even he did. It was just like all that comeback, the 25-16 run came with Joel Embiid on the bench. Why do you think that was?
Like you said, Amy. Well, it was because this team hustled. They fought. They had a little bit more energy, more pep in their step. Guys moved a little better, and they came back and made a heck of a run.
So here is the final play. Tyrese Maxey had just made a tremendous bucket to tie it at 103. This three is off the mark, but really quick offensive rebound from Nick Claxton. He basically just it's almost like a volleyball tip. He gets it almost like a set. You can see him. He just puts it just enough, and it's more than enough time. Point two is when he releases it, and it bounces around the rim.
You know, Amy, when I was watching this, I was hoping he didn't get off on time. Like, no, they got to review it. But deep down inside, I knew he got that ball off.
I mean, that's just
but I remember one of my assistant coaches in college used to say, no win or loss comes down to one shot. It was the actions that led up to that one shot.
I mean, you're down double digits most of the game in this one. You have to fight back in the fourth quarter. And, you know, we talked in the fourth quarter earlier, and you're thinking, all right, they cut it to 3. It shouldn't have probably gotten to that point. And the one thing I think that everybody's going to look at is Joel Embiid had said after the Celtics game, listen, I'm still able to be out there and I'm still a force. And then you think, I don't know, when you're hampered like he is he better sometimes just taking a couple of plays off?
I think so. I think, you know, if he...
Did you ever think you'd say that?
I know. I think having him out there for long stretches of time from what we're seeing may not be the recipe that we need to be successful. Maybe he needs to take quick spurts, get him in there, get him out. Get him in, he might not like it, but if that's the way we're going to seem to have a bit more pep in our step and be a better team, that might have to be right now.
Yeah, and we're not talking about Joel Embiid, obviously still a tremendous player, and 75% Joel Embiid is still better than a lot of things out there, but when you see the movement, and we had a great couple of clips to show you in the pregame show, when you see the movement or lack thereof on the defensive end from Joel Embiid, he was the one that talked about it. He said he's not his dominant self, but he feels like he can still contribute out there. But you can see the movement the other way with no Joel Embiid, as Mark was just talking about, so much more movement on the defensive end and on the offensive end, which makes a difference for you for that aspect, offensive or defense.
First of all, for Joel Embiid, it's mental. If you don't feel right mentally, you can't do nothing physically. You can only give what you can. But to answer your question, I think it's defensively. I truly believe that. But I think, you know, Joel may be hampered. We see that he's hampered. I know maybe. Let me correct myself. He's hampered. He can't move like he can. He's not 100%. But he's trying. He's giving the efforts, and I like that fact. But defensively, you can see how teams are really attacking him.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, there's so many people that say, like, I want Joel Embiid to play, I want Joel Embiid to play, and here he is playing. And now they're like, I don't know, maybe we can take a couple of plays off. Listen, if the big man is healthy, you want him out there, and you saw the way that they were able to operate in the fourth quarter. He had his knee wrapped. At periods of this one, you saw that he walked off the court. His knee has been bothering him. That's no secret right there. But the Sixers went on a 25-16 run to take the lead at one point in the fourth quarter. And you thought, all right, well, this is where you want it. You're only down 1 right here. They're raining threes. I mean, this is a team that was not shooting the ball and has not shot the ball very well with the 1-point lead right here. Tyrese Maxey pretty much taking over, as we know he's one to do.
Exactly, and you know who's filling up with him is Oubre.
Yes.
You know, people are giving energy and giving effort out there because they feel the desperate need. They feel like they down, and because they feel they down, they fighting with more oomph to them. And you know, this Nets team, give them credit. This Nets team didn't give up.
And that's the thing. I mean, if it's a scrappy team, they had a real problem with Watford, I think, most of the night in this one. Claxton's always been a problem, but here is Tyrese Maxey. That tied it at 103, and this is when I thought in Jim Lynam voice, Aim, I think we got overtime. That's what Jim usually says to Mark and I. And Mark and I say, no, we don't want it. But in this case, we did want overtime because I would have liked the Sixers' chances in the extra session. Unfortunately, it doesn't go that way.
Yeah, absolutely. It does not go that way, unfortunately. But I got to give credit where credit is due. I love that it was the no-quit mentality from the 76ers, even when Joel Embiid went out the game. That showed effort. That showed the effort to play hard, and it showed them playing with pride. I like that.
This is one of those, listen, I mean, the Sixers are now 16 games under 500. Ooh. They've got 26 games to go. They've had their full complement, albeit not healthy, of Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid. As I mentioned, Joel Embiid only played 27 minutes against the Celtics. He didn't play some of the fourth quarter in this one. But they've lost now 7 straight, and that's 5 straight with those guys. What is it about this team that's got them going such a wrong direction? Because at some point, it's not just health, right?
I think health has a major part to do with it. If the main anchor and focal point of your team is not 100% and not able to truly be himself, it's like you've grown accustomed to how you used to play with Embiid. Now, with that being said, Paul George never played with him until now. So that's the adjust from him. Paul George been trying to figure it out. Like tonight, he has 15-7. Still trying to figure it out. With that being said, it has a lot to do with health. But guys in and out the rotation, in and out the lineup, Amy, it does have an effect on the way you play. Yeah. It does.
Yeah, I mean, Tyrese Maxey leading the way, 10 of 23. 23 shots, he took 31 points. You know, we're going to talk a little bit more about Paul George. Kelly Oubre, another tremendous effort. If you need somebody to show fight, he's always going to be a guy that's up to the task. See if Quentin Grimes, who has another 16 points. There's a guy who's averaging just over 15 points since he came over in that trade with the Mavericks. Nice dunk there, nice move in transition for him. Quentin Grimes is quitting himself quite well as a starting 2-guard in this game tonight. Played over 37 minutes, as I mentioned, shot 50% from the field and 50% from 3. Coming up with a steal. And then there you go.
Love it. I love the way he creates opportunities from the defensive end. That's a lost art, and I'm glad his man brings it.
Are you surprised at all by what he's been to bring? Because I remember Quentin Grimes more with the Knicks, and he wasn't getting as much playing time.
Agreed. And even with Dallas, he wasn't getting him. I think he was 24 minutes a game. But as soon as we got him, when I started studying on who he was, I said he won't get more minutes than that because he need a guy who's an elite 3-and-D guy. Mm-hmm. He was labeled as a 3-and-D, but as you've seen, he has much more than that. Even if you want to label him that, that's fine. But he's like elite 3-and-D. He's not a normal 3-and-D. So I'll take that. I'm really pleased with him. I'm really pleased with his ability to create chaos for the opposing teams on the defensive end.
Yeah, he's very rangy on that. Had a couple of steals in this one. As I mentioned, also shot 50% from 3. Let's check in now with Nick Nurse, unfortunately, after his team's loss.
Nick, I guess that's what kind of led to the decision to not play Joel in the fourth quarter tonight.
Well, that group was just playing so well together and had a good feel for the game at that point, and just wanted to let them roll with it. Yeah.
I guess what kind of went to maybe going to Andre in the first half and then going to Yabu in the second half? What kind of caused the switch up there?
Yeah, we wanted to try to play Yabu at the 4, right? So that was that. Drum went in there and played okay except for the fouls. You know, he committed 3 fouls and he play about 5 or 6 minutes. Yeah, and I didn't mind the matchup with Yabu on Watford, actually. I think he was doing the best job of keeping him out of the paint. But then in the second half, it became more of a speed thing, I think, on the outside, which is why we went with Yabu in the second half.
Are you more encouraged by the rally or more disappointed in how the defense started that game?
Equally. I think certainly didn't start defensively at all, and then played, pretty good defense. Played really great defense second half. Fourth quarter, really, really great. Yeah.
I guess what was your vantage point on the Claxton tip in? I guess what did you kind of see? From your vantage point?
Yeah, I was just. I didn't really I saw him tip it in. I was just seeing if he was over the back or not. But I haven't watched it again. I just was checking to see if I could challenge that since they were going to look at the monitor. And there wasn't a call, so you can't challenge it. Yeah.
What was it just about that move in the fourth quarter specifically that they were able to sort of turn up the defense the way that they did?
Well, you saw them. They were up really guarding hard. They were pressuring. They were really making drives a lot harder, and if somebody did drive, somebody was there quickly to help. They were back out. They knocked the ball away. I'm not sure how many turnovers we created in the fourth, but it felt like a good number. Got our hands on a lot of balls, but they were just much more active and physical. Guarded the ball much better. Yeah.
Nick, you've said, and Joel has said as well, normally when he is feeling good, you see him at the basket a lot. Tonight he took 6 threes. I think he missed all of them. I guess, what do you see as the biggest impediment for him right now? I know the knee is the knee, but why can't he establish himself the way he probably needs.
Well, yeah, again, I mean, you said it. Like I said, you know he's feeling pretty decent when he's driving the ball some, right? And playing inside a little bit and protecting the rim a little bit. And, you know, he's not feeling very decent if he's, you know, playing on the perimeter and whatever, the opposite of those things. So you know, again, he's giving us what he can, right? I don't, you know, obviously doesn't feel like he's not himself. We all know that. He's not certainly the guy that we're used to seeing play at a super high level, but I commend him for giving us what he can.
That's it. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Obviously, talking about Joel Embiid, trying to give what he can. A little over 31 minutes in this one, but shot poorly from three. No surprise that obviously affected his overall numbers. 4 of 13, 14 points. That's not what you expect with a big man. And then we talked about the points in the paint. At half, the Nets had almost doubled them up, 34 to 18 in points in the paint.
Absolutely, which is very telling to me. Like when they don't have the Cam Thomas out there, and they don't have D'Angelo Russell, like you expect them to try to find ways to score. And Claxton has been playing so well this year when he's been healthy, and other guys as well. So for them to dominate us around the paint area, that was very concerning for me. You know, I understand they have a bunch of athletes, but I think every now and then it comes down to just heart and hustle. Now, I think this 76ers team was giving it all. I think Joel Embiid, like Coach Nick Nurse said, can't move like that. But with all due respect, you can't be dominated around that paint.
You heard also Coach Nurse was asked about, hey, why did you leave that crew in? You didn't see Joel Embiid out there. And he said they were the ones that were getting things going. You know, that sends a message as well to everybody else who was not out there in crunch time in the fourth quarter, right?
Absolutely. That's the message I love to hear. Like, we need to win some games. Now we are actually behind the Nets, which is crazy.
Right.
We're behind the Nets now.
Yeah.
They have it over. So now we're in the 11th spot or 12th spot. So, like, that's very eye-opening, people, very eye-opening.
Because you're looking at the way everything's structured. They beat the Nets a while ago, and then they just lost to the Nets now, back-to-back games.
Yep.
So the Nets are above the Sixers in the standings. The Sixers are 31 points, led all scorers, no surprise. He was 45.5% from the field, but almost 46% from three, 5 of 11. Including the one that tied this game. He was hot early, and then he finished the game quite strong in this one.
Absolutely, Amy. He found that extra gear. He found that extra motor to help push this team to start this game off hot and finish hot. And then opening and closing. It just wasn't enough, but I love what I see from him.
How much do you like the fact that he was 10 of 23? He took 23 shots.
You mean being aggressive?
Yep.
You mean showing that we need buckets and I'm going to try to get them? You mean going out with the clip empty? I love it. I love that absolutely. You know, we can use that a lot from Paul George tonight to also. If you look at the guys who started the game, Paul George shot the least amount of shots. You know, for me, that's something I'm gonna keep beating that drum. But back to Maxey. Maxey is like unguardable because of his ability to shoot the ball and to mix with his speed. Like, if he was very low on the totem pole on one of those things, he wouldn't be as efficient as he is now. But because he can shoot the ball, you have to come out and guard him in range. And then that just do you the service because he can shoot the ball and he can blow by you. That's why he's unguarded.
Shot 11 threes, made almost half of them. Was perfect from the free throw line. He had 5 assists. He was a -1 in a game that you lose by 2. He really does affect the games in a lot of ways. And defensively, obviously, he was running around out there. Everybody knows he's going to be at the top of the score sheet when it comes to the defense on the other side. The 21st 30-point game this season, there was a joke coming out of the college that he wasn't that good of a shooter or a scorer. Hilarious.